What's up? What's up? What's up? Big Sir tapping in. This episode what?
9.
We moving. You all right?
Man,
You look good.
appreciate it.
Hey, can you pull that chain out just so
Man,
we can
why
see?
are you focused on it?
I'm just saying.
Chunky.
It's chunky. I just want to. We boys.
Mike, let
there
him
you
hear
go.
the weight.
He didn't do it like I wanted to, but yeah, it is. Donnell Jones, the R&B singer. What's up, man?
Still waiting on the R&B check, bro.
Yeah, okay. Well, and royalties still in the mail.
Hey,
what they said.
y'all mess around. And Donnell Jones gonna
Well,
be in the
we
comments.
hope he do. We hope
Yeah.
he does here. What's up, man? Everything good down
What's
there?
happening? I'm good, chilling.
Okay. All right. Well, look, man, this is episode 9. The Village are part 3 of our autism acceptance series. We got a dad in the building, man. I'll give a quick backstory on Josh. He's from Cincinnati. He's known his wife through work because it's weird, right? It's just a lot of different dynamic, right? But just like we talk about the Village, we have something in common.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to take away from that story, but this is kind of what we're creating. So Josh is VP of operations at Safe Master, Service Master. Okay. I was close. I was close.
He made him a manager at Safeway.
Y'all ever notice how close he is to everything?
Yeah, everything.
It brings a
little color. It brings a little color to it, you know?
I saw your face.
Yeah. Either do. Talk about your family and thank you for finally us meeting for the first time in person after a year and a half. So, share your journey a little bit, man. Let us know what brought you here and where you're from, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Always great to have a platform to talk about our boys. Now that I have another little one too, so
we got to talk about that.
keeping me away, keeping me young, I guess.
Yeah,
best way to put it.
Yeah,
but now a little bit about myself. Yeah, from Cincinnati. I met my wife, as you know. You met her. She's from Kentucky area. We had our oldest son Shaw back in 2018. That started that journey there. We had him in Columbus, Ohio. So we were up there working for some time. I was involved with retail. My wife was as well. We ended up moving close to family down in Cincinnati. So her family's from Fort Thomas, Kentucky. So right across the river from downtown Cincinnati there.
Okay.
But as we got settled in Kentucky, and our boys started getting older, saw some of those kind of signs, some of those delays, milestones not being met. I really wanted to explore what resources are there, and saw some barriers, as I think a lot of us see and a lot of parents out there experience. Lack of resources from either organizations out there or just knowing where to go. We reached out to, I think it was Children's Hospital, try to set up appointments, and it was just more difficult, really trying to get diagnosis, understand what's going on. What is making him different? What is causing that? Yeah. We didn't know that world either. So you don't know it until you have to step into it and kind of blindly jump in the deep end, more or less.
How was that process though? Because a lot of people were in the early stages, early intervention. I don't think people outside of our community really understand the fight when it comes to just getting a diagnosis.
Yeah, right? and I feel like it's getting harder, especially now that what I think the ratios was 136 a couple of years ago. Now
131.
Now you hear 131. Like it just keeps on growing from that ratio perspective, and for boys and girls. Yeah, the process for us, it was really trying to get that initial appointment. Now the testing itself, I've always been very questionable on it. I think I was very skeptical and harsh on how they diagnose and do things. Like put a kid in the room, put them in a corner, you ask them to do certain things. Any kid at the age is going to be difficult, and saying, hey, point at this, point at that, do this, do that. So I think there's improvement for testing in a way to be more, I'd say, subjective and best for what the kid needs and how to do that. But that's my own opinion. I'd say, they put them in a room, you stand the parent on a couch, and it's like you sit there and watch it. To me, it was a little skeptical. But the process itself, it was difficult getting that appointment. I know we had connections. My wife did to a number of other mothers. She made a mom's group. She got very close. As the moms kind of just have a different perspective of themselves as well in what they go through. And she talked to them, and I heard their stories on how they're waiting months, years even, for these appointments. They're on a waiting list to see a doctor to get this. They're waiting list to see a specialist for speech maybe, or occupational therapy. So I'd say, yeah, from our perspective, I feel lucky in a way. We were able to get an appointment and get in, but the process itself is scary because you don't know what to expect in the first place.
Right.
But for just to kind of go back to our story. So yeah, we were in Kentucky, started the process with our son, going through that, ran into the kind of those barriers. We went with different programs. We actually got very lucky to find an ABA therapy program that was actually based in Ohio. Ohio had better benefits for us, even though we were in Kentucky. So we took that 30 minutes to an hour drive daily during the week to get him up there, to get him to get him the therapy he needed from a speech and occupational perspective. I think it was called Anchor ABA. I mean, it was right outside the theme park. So my son loved going there.
Perfect.
Saw the roller coasters, made him excited every day. We took him once in a while, but we utilized that program for a while, and then we did some work with the actual legislatives in Kentucky. My wife, she did amazing. She actually went and presented and spoke to a committee to get legislation passed.
Shout out to Haley Newman.
Yeah, shout out to Haley there.
I remember that. And how did that go though?
Again, government moves slow.
Yeah,
nothing is impactful as quickly as we'd want, especially for kids. Like it's a process. So we got the ball rolling. Got it in front of a committee, and what you have to do is get it approved by the committee, and then it goes in front of the House and gets voted on, and they only choose certain I forget the word. It wasn't a bill, but it was a amendment to add it on. But when it got down to it, they had to pick between 4 or 5 amendments. They didn't pick ours. They didn't. It was called Shaw's resolution. It was an amendment to basically provide more resources to kids with autism and with special needs. So if for some reason, unfortunately, it was not picked. I think they actually picked investment in AI, which is funny because AI was kind of invented and developed by individuals with autism and other kids. So
crazy. And this is Kentucky, right?
So once that happened, that was kind of another belt in the notch, more or less, on, hey, is this really the best place for us to continue in finding resources for our son and for our family. So my work, I got an opportunity with the job I do now. We're going to start building here in Dallas. We looked into in the Texas schools and saw a lot more opportunity within the school districts. Now, I didn't expect how large the school districts were until I got down here.
When they say everything's bigger in Texas,
it's true. They said they got 45 elementary. I was like, that's an eye-opening number there. I come from I think there's like 7 in the school district out there. So, but no, once we got down here, we found another ABA program called Stepping Stones. They were able to really provide our son immediately, kind of piggyback on what he was already developing. And then we even actually found another type of therapy down here called MERT that I can go into details on if you'd like. But
say that for a second. Because that is very unique.
Yeah,
and I think there's a lot of even us in this room are very inquisitive about, right? And I think just our viewers and our listeners it's not broadcasted enough, right? So there's things because insurance doesn't pay for.
Yeah, right? That's one of the biggest.
Yeah, problems. That's one of the biggest things. So, let's talk about Shaw in regards to where is he at on the spectrum, and kind of some of the things that you guys have done over the years to assist, whether it be therapies, ABA, those type of things, and his progression, right, as to where he's at today.
So, say one of the first, I said the biggest signs and the biggest barriers of his was always communication.
Okay.
He was nonverbal, very limited, except for just mom and dad and kind of pointing and narrating where need be, just based off motions and noise and kind of just sounds. So that's why we focused heavily on speech. We also found that kind of occupational therapy partnered with speech was positive and kind of helped speech along, because with, at least from our perspective, he's a boy, so he's got energy. He's got more energy than any of us combined.
Right.
So finding a way to get that out, and then have him be able to focus has always been and still is the challenge from day to day. That's one reason we bought the house we have now. It has a half acre in the backyard. So I'm like, run, get it out.
So we can bring the kids over?
I got the pool because pool has been his therapy. Okay. So it's all just, we made that commitment when we went look for a house. I was like, what can we get to satisfy his sensory?
Right.
At any time. So we're even going to put a little climbing playhouse in the upstairs bonus room. Just trying to find ways to get that energy out. If it's raining out, if it's sunny out, always have a way to get the energy out.
Get
So
that sensory.
he can focus.
Overload off.
Yes.
That is the goal. But for him, language is always, and speech has always been a barrier. Something we worked on. From a social standpoint, he's actually always been very social. He's always the kid that we're like, people are strangers. Not everybody's your best friend.
Right.
Not everybody has the pocket full of
talk
candy.
To the guy with a hood on his head in a paper bag.
Oh yeah, we take him into an area. He wants to hold your hand and take you where he wants.
He said hood in a paper bag. Well, get out of here.
Could be orange juice in that.
You just never know. You just never know. You just never know, man. Never know. It's orange juice, then. Hey,
it's orange juice and gin.
There you go.
Bumpy face.
So no, he's okay,
but he's grown. I'd say his progression and how he's kind of developed his speech has gone from nonverbal to a couple words, and from maybe just sporadic words to 2-word sentences, starting to relate things. One of his biggest strengths he's always had is his memory. The kid is photographic memory more than anybody.
It's a key to autism. Like my son
man.
did, and we
all
knows
got all of them like that.
We drive on the road, we pass something, a year down the road, we drive that route, we haven't touched it in a year. Look, I'm like, how did you remember that?
Yeah.
Like,
not expecting them to remember that.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. That's always been, as you said, it's memory's crazy, but we've always been focused on that speech aspect. We feel like that opens a lot of doors, and can be a barrier to a lot of other areas.
So what, if any, what kind of behavioral did you see along the way? I think now we talk about the different side therapies that you really kind of dug into, and from a development standpoint, right? As to what, because we're all looking for ways to evolve our kids and that can assist them along the way, because we had a episode last week, and Tanya said autism doesn't go away. You find a way to.
I think we're all autistic.
Yeah, I do too. Like, I agree.
I look at my wife.
We talked about that.
No,
I'm like, no.
I look at my wife.
I think everybody's on the spectrum to a certain extent.
Y'all just judge us like.
I kind of came. I
you.
thought about this theory though. If you look at athletes, they are the most repetitive people
100%.
in the world
100%.
because you have to do the same thing every day in order to do one performance.
Right.
And that's autism.
Yeah. I think we all are.
Just repetitive.
Yeah. We all have sensories. We all have our nicks and knacks that we do. And I've always thought that, but now actually having kids, it's like, I walked on my tippy toes.
We all stem in a certain way.
We played basketball. Like I don't know. Like what we stemmed, we got excited. Like, I don't know. It's just certain things that you start thinking about. It's like, okay, I tap my foot, I do something repetitive, bite my nails. Like, I mean, there's so many different things that can relate, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We just renamed it. We call it a nervous
maybe we just
tick.
need to get diagnosed.
The scale used to be unique.
I'm
okay with that. I'm okay with that. I would. I definitely will.
The scale used to be what? Yes or no? Autistic or not autistic? It was like 1 and 0s. Now it's 1 to 30, 1 to 40. It just keeps adding on. The scale is sliding and growing at any point. So I think everybody's on there somewhere.
I think the ratio is getting bigger now because you have more adults starting to get tested for autism. I think that's why that scale is growing, because you have people who are in college and they get out of college, they get tested and they find out they were on the spectrum, But that goes back to the test too, because the test can be skewed.
Right.
It's all the perception of the
right.
person doing. Because I think when we did our initial testing, it was more harsh. They were like, oh, he's pretty severe. And I was like, how do you make this judgment off of 10 minutes in a room with a kid?
Flashcard,
And a new
that
place,
didn't make sense.
and new toys,
Right.
and new surrounding.
Yeah,
I was
right.
like, if I was a kid, I wouldn't want to focus on you at
Yeah,
all.
they did.
They're not comfortable whatsoever.
My son first got diagnosed, told me that White was level 3.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to need all this assistance. Well, you look at White now, the only thing White can't do is talk. Follows directions, knows what he's doing. Yeah.
And he will do.
Yeah. And ABA 2 years, and now the only thing he can't do is talk. But you tell him something or you say something to him, he understands everything.
I think it's repetitive, because we all have similar stories, right? When it comes down to it. And it's always good to sit down and, again, feel like we say this every week, is that when we bring somebody on, it's just we're constantly talking about things that, oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's you too.
Right.
Yeah, you too. Like,
Right.
it's kind of like you would raise your hand in the crowd as to, like, where's Waldo type deal. Like, you're literally finding more and more people. So that's why we think it's good, to bring other dads that are going through, because we all had the same emotions, right? We just talked about it in the last episode. There's different levels of, hey, just found out, kind of pissed because
the box.
Like, I can't.
The box.
Yeah. The box. I'm kind of pissed. I just found out my son's on the spectrum, and okay, what does that mean?
It's a weird thing to cope.
It's a weird thing to cope with, right? Yeah. And I think once you accept it, it takes a lot to get to that point, and that's kind of where we're at right now. Yeah. Because, not saying it took us 7 years, but at the same time, it's being vulnerable, right? Putting us in a position. Shake, my bad, bro. Go ahead.
No, you good. No, just a little piggyback off of what you said about getting to the finals, finally getting to the stage of acceptance. It takes a lot to get there, like you said, vulnerability, transparency, and just being honest with yourself, but more so being honest with for us, in our case, our wives, just understanding where we are. And that would actually be the second part, is to follow the acceptance, is to understand, okay, all right, I need to understand exactly what autism is, what it entails, what does it look like, how can I be of service, how can I help my kid out, and, to involve also the safety precautions, because, we have kids that are level 2, level 3, who aren't, verbal or partially verbal. And for example, my son, he can talk, but he's not conversational. Mm-hmm. So he can't tell me, after a long day of him being in school or in therapy, if something happened to him. So parents are having that concept of understanding exactly what's going on in their household, exactly what's going on with their kid and what they're experiencing from their side. We have our side and what we understand, but they're in a new world. And then on top of that, they're on the spectrum as well. So it's a different way of how to, maneuver.
No, 100%. It's part of being a dad, right? Mm-hmm. There ain't no playbook in this, especially, non-neurodivergent children. But, like, we're on 10 at all times. It's just like, especially with our jobs, and then you got to come home, you have to be on point. And I think, a lot of people don't understand that aren't inside our community. So it's always good to talk to people from a high level aspect that are, hey man, what are you doing? Yeah. And how do you deal with this? Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because we're all maxed, but it's like you got to go home at some point. Yeah. And at that point, it's like, okay, let's find the charger. Let's plug in that battery, because you get inside, it's over. Everything is daddy's home, and it's one of those things. So I think we all experience that, and I think that's the good part about what we're doing, as to bringing the village together of dads, man. Just to have these open conversations, right, about trial and error type things, what you're doing versus. So that brings me to talk about MERT, man.
Yeah, so MERT was something that was mentioned back when we lived in Ohio to my wife. She looked into it. It involves magnetic treatment. So using magnetic waves toward kind of activating the brain in certain areas. So to go into more depth on it, we found it here down in Dallas, and they have a center here. As he kind of touched on at the beginning, one of the biggest negatives is it's not covered on insurance, and it's pretty costly. We approached the conversation and the whole situation after we did our research and everything, is our son having any ability to move that needle forward with speech is going to be so impactful to his life that it's worth the cost. If we have to get a loan, we have to figure out what it is.
It's not a number.
And do it. That number could impact his life so much now and make it, and he could grow off that progression. So it's better. Let's figure it out. But what MERT is it uses magnetic waves to stimulate portions of the brain that may not, like neurons that may not be active, and also to help the portions of the brain, the lobes of the brain, align. So what they did initially is they did an EEG. So they did a brain scan and kind of put it on him and had him close his eyes because they're looking at different waves. So we all have like data, delta, or data, beta. Beta is when you're awake, like we are right now. Alpha is when you are awake, but your eyes are closed. So your brain's just processing at a certain hertz. Theta is kind of that in between sleep, and then delta is obviously when we're in a deep sleep. So what they're doing is they're trying to, first, they want to make sure that the posterior in the back of your brain, your central, and your frontal lobes are all firing and processing at the same point. If they're not, that can be an abnormal processing, and you could have issues in just your brain communicating at the correct times, delay in speech, delay in physical motor skills, etc. What we found out, so what they'll do is they'll do an EEG if you're on your child immediately, just to see where those opportunities are, and to also make sure they're an ideal candidate for it. Some children may not be able to be as successful in the treatment now. It may not provide exactly what they need because they first want to make sure they can align everything and then work on stimulation. So we did the EEG for our son. They found that the posterior and central lobes were triggering. I can provide you information on kind of what they're looking at and what the scans look like.
Right.
But they're basically, we'll put the helmet on our son, I'll have us close his eyes, and they're looking for a spike at the same point for all lobes.
Wait, how do you get him to close his eyes? Because it's like,
I know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
They have really good professionals.
Okay.
That help
okay.
out. They help out. We use our own ways. Yes, I have utilized this. Screens are like the most appealing factor to my son. I'd be like, okay, you want the screen? Close your eyes, count,
Okay.
and then wait, and then go back. And it's like we would find ways to the motivational factors, basically, to get. Because
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about sir.
It became easier as it went on.
Motivation is another word for bribe.
Yeah. When we walked in and they were like, "This is what we're gonna have to do," I was like, "You want him to sit still in that chair for 5 minutes with this thing on his head?" Because first they put he has an ear sensitivity, and they put like a clip on his ear and put a heart rate thing, and he lost it. I was like, "Whoa, don't do that."
Yeah.
I was like, "I'll help." Like I had to help him through a little bit.
Right.
So every child is going to be different. Every child is going to have their intricacies on what you need to do. But once we were able to kind of get the scan, we were able to find that. So the frontal lobe itself is kind of a lobe that focuses on your social skills, your communication, your speech. And they find that a lot of kids with autism have inflammation in their frontal lobes, which then can cause doing the actual treatment. The magnetic waves are supposed to help decrease the inflammation and also help neurons that may not be firing wake up, more or less. So what it did was they would go through and they'd have this device that had like coils on it. They would go and they would treat it. It was just like they'd hold it on their head for 5 seconds and they'd be in a chair. It was something that they would have as like a wand almost, because they know that the kids are going to move. It's keeping them inactive for that time period is impossible. So they go through, first they want to make sure everything's aligned. So they did some treatments on the back and some treatments on the front just to get kind of the firing at the same moment within his scans. But then it was a big focus on the frontal lobe in really waking up neurons and getting the brain to trigger when it need be. Because when we did our first EEG, there was like, you have a pause and you see a spike and where it's supposed to be. His frontal lobe was just, there was nothing. There was no activity compared to the rest of his brain. And we were like, okay, wait, we see it, but can we really impact it? So we did 6 weeks of treatment, 5 days a week, every Monday through Friday. We drove from Frisco down. It's in centers in Plano, just north of
So is this the Dallas Brain Treatment Center? Dallas Brain Treatment Center?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Brain Treatment Center there. So we went there 5 days a week, 6 weeks straight. We would do an EEG every 2 weeks to see where is the development, where we need to focus on, continue growing and focusing on. Because one of the biggest things about MERT is that it is customized for each kid.
Okay.
It's like, I think there's like a TMS. They sent me this hour and 30-minute presentation.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like this, like scientific, more or less. I sat there and played it and was just wanted to understand the intricacies of it.
Right.
Is if I'm going to put my son through this, I got to make sure first it's safe.
Right.
And then really understand it. So then I can talk about it and I can respond to the doctor instead of just being a patient that's like, okay, whatever you say is best, and just trust him.
Right.
But as we did it more and more, we saw some progression as the treatment was ongoing. But the doctor did tell us, right now, one of the biggest things during treatment, you're waking a lot of things up. Like our son's energy level it was already a 10 out of 10. It probably went to probably 13 to 15 at times.
Man.
But they were like, it's going to wake his brain up. He's going to start understanding and start doing new things and probably have more energy because he's experiencing this hyperactivity. But as we got 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out, 3 months, 4 months, we saw a progression on his speech. It went from being just one word sentences or just, as you kind of said with your son, you can't ask him how he's feeling and he'll get a response, but we're now getting more.
Okay.
And we see that progressionally now.
Right.
We're getting 4 or 5 word sentences. He's singing a song right out of nowhere. So we're seeing this progression. We did another scan after 6 months because 6 months, I think, was back in January. So we did another scan, and we saw we saw the spike we needed to in the frontal lobe. We saw it aligning with the central and the posterior. So we're seeing that progression. It's a treatment you do 6 weeks, and then you can come back after a year and do like a touch up for 2 weeks and kind of help progress that. Because he told us stories of kids that came in that were their level of just understanding and logic was like they have people travel in from overseas, or not overseas, but like this person was like Virginia Beach, Florida. They came in for 6 weeks and just lived in Dallas and went through the treatment. So they have people that come in just to try to get it. But yeah, they said over time, you see that progression, you see that growth. And for us, we've been lucky to see that. And we're trying to build off that still. As he gets older, the age and the energy just continues to, I think, as we all see every year, they get more energy. You gotta try to waver through that.
Right.
But like, we never thought that we would actually be able to send him to grade school, and he's going to first grade now. Like, as of this year, we took him out of therapy and put him in school. We realized that the more he's around kids at certain children, and he can kind of mimic and grow off of his surroundings. That's what's good for him.
They're sponges.
Yeah, they're sponges. So him being around, like, just changing that environment and changing what he can absorb was going to help him. So we've made that progression. MERT was it was a hard pill to swallow at first, but doing the research and now seeing the results, it's been a great move for him. And I think, and I hope, more or less, that it becomes something that's, especially from affordability perspective, other people can explore it and look into it, because it's so impactful. As we know, anything we can do with such a young age, at a younger point in their lives, it's going to help that development.
Of course.
So much more every year and every day.
Brain's the most vulnerable at this age.
Yes. So because this treatment is also utilized by like people who have severe brain injuries, PTSD. Like he's like, I have veteran in here earlier. So like it's something that's utilized by a lot of adults, but they're finally realizing that, hey, this could be used with ASD. This could be used with people with any type of brain trauma or brain delay or any type of situation. So yeah, it's been great for us, and I really hope. And I talked to the doctor. I was like, what else? What's the next step? What's the goal here? He looked into other things that aren't, like, I think he said stem cells are the thing that's being looked at in California and other areas from a scientific perspective.
So he did something with stem cells.
Yeah, we did that in Mexico.
Yeah, that was he said the next thing, because we had our youngest and they were like, save the stem cells. He's like, if I was you, save them.
Okay.
He's like, it's the same. He comes from the same blood, same genes. Your youngest, save them, because somebody in your family could use them, and it could impact your oldest son more than you realize in the future, possibly. I was like,
oh. So let me ask this question: time frame, as far as when you would take him to the appointments, how long would once he had the
EEG?
Yeah, how long would the initial appointment take?
15 minutes.
Really?
That's it. You'd go in. Literally, the appointment was so fast. You go in, you sit down, they start the clock, they go through, and they'd hold it on his head for 6 seconds every 30 seconds for, I think, 10 to maybe 15-minute period. And as soon as he was done, he was gone. And one of the biggest things that made me realize it was actually helping was our son wanted it. We show up, we'd go to the appointment, I'd get in the car, and he'd be like, we go to tick, 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 because it makes this noise. It makes a tick noise. He goes, we go tick, tick, tick. I was like, yes, yeah, we're going to go. He's like, oh, he'd get excited. And I was like,
that make it easier.
If he's wanting it, then there's something.
He's understanding now what it is.
And we talked to the doctor, and he's like, well, why is he wanting it? And they're like, well, most kids feel almost like a relief because if it's decreasing the pressure and the inflammation, it's relaxing the brain.
Josh, we just talked about that because like we've literally been going back and forth about this whole thing. Like, and I've been super excited to actually talk to you about it. But I told him that exact story. Thinking about it is just like, I don't think people realize how much pressure is on a kid's brain.
Yeah.
That's on the spectrum. Like, so for Shaw to like, Daddy, when am I going back? Like, he's literally like, that shit feels amazing. Like, I need to go back. Like, cause I feel relieved. Right. And I think that's a big, like, man, like that is so powerful to me because it lets those who really don't know, they just know of a word, autism, but they don't actually what these kids are experiencing.
He was actually upset when we stopped the treatment. We got to 6 weeks and we're like, is this it? And he was like,
no more?
No more. And I was like, no, bud, I'm sorry. I can't pay for that anymore right now.
Right.
You gotta take a break.
You're
killing daddy's pocket.
So what type of, I don't want to get too deep into asking how much it costs, those type of things, but I mean, I don't think a lot of people know about this. I mean, if you're in this, you're listening, you're watching, you know, we're gonna have questions. You know, they're gonna maybe do their own research, but you know,
I'm interested now.
Yeah, is it something that, you know, can it be financed? However much it costs. Is it something? What type of plans do they have? You know, based off of what the process you went through.
So yeah, they'll work with you on what they can.
Okay.
Let's say, to be honest, it's roughly about $2,000 a week.
Okay.
Is
for
what
6
it is.
weeks.
For 6 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
But again, once you do that 6 weeks, they don't recommend and they don't want to do anything for a year, and then you only do like 2 weeks time frames, almost like touch-ups. He told me an impactful story that really made me like kind of was eye-opening about an individual, a younger kid that went through the treatments over the past like 5 years, and that he came in, he was nonverbal, was not being able to actually work with them, wouldn't do the treatments, went through it for 6 weeks, came back after a year, did it again, came back after 2 years, was actually requesting it. All of a sudden was verbal. The kid's now writing a book, and the doctor, once he came back and the kid was actually being able to like have a conversation and hold a conversation with them, as he came in, when he first came in, I forgot this point, he said the kid, his sensory was just like rocking, was a constant like rocking and rocking motion, trying to just kind of cope. And the doctor said, like, when you first came in, do you remember speaking to me? And he goes, and the kid said, yeah, I remember everything. He goes, then why were you, what was the rocking? What was the noise? What was the humming? And he goes, well, that's just how I was dealing with my situation. I couldn't get it out. He's like, and the kid said, think about this. What if I came and just took your tongue right now and you couldn't say anything anymore? What would you do? And he said, you would find a tick. You would find a way to cope with the situations because now you're going through a trauma. And he goes, that was my tick. That was the way I was able to cope with not being able to get things out. He goes, so all of our children they're processing everything. They're understanding everything. They just have this wall up to where they can't get things out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's where them noises come from.
Yeah. It's just their coping mechanism.
Yeah.
But for him to keep coming back and now he's writing a book, it's just, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where we don't know what's going to happen today.
Man, you look at all the geniuses of the world, man. They were autistic, or you look at Elon Musk.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, or Einstein. They were.
But it's all about meeting the kids
where they need to be.
Yeah, because their story is literally just on the first page.
One of our kids could be the person that's going to actually cure cancer.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's
because they're geniuses.
It's possible.
They are. What's our generation of our kids? Gen Alpha.
Yeah, it is.
They're called Gen Alphas.
Gen Alpha now.
That's the newest. Like our age, our kids' age range is Gen Alpha. I don't know what.
That's what
I don't know. But it's a thing.
No word.
But it's, to me, when I heard that, I was like, okay, it's not Gen Z, it's not Gen Y, it's Alpha. So Alpha to me is the beginning.
Yeah.
You look at different people, like you said, Elon Musk, those are alphas. When it comes to, you're talking about owners, people creating, doing things, I get excited about this stuff, man. because I really think it's everything that we're willing to put on the table, because there's nothing that we won't do. It's, you telling me it makes sense, Josh, I want to look at it.
We have more potential now to develop anything than ever before.
Exactly.
From technology to treatments to anything. I'm still working on the AI understanding there, but think about kids now.
Shout out to Kentucky for picking AI over.
Yes.
I'm not gonna let.
I don't know if the shout out.
I'm not gonna let
that was
judgmental face for
that was one of the most pettiest shout out I ever heard in my life.
It's a meaning behind that one, brother. You got to have a meaning about that one, bro. But no, man, this is wow. This has been great. It's overdue, but I'm glad we were able to finally, sit down and actually talk to you, man. We really want you to be a part of this, man. I know we've been talking about it. I'm not sure what that looks like yet, but I think you're here in Dallas with us. Minus Shake, but Shake will be here hopefully one day. But we appreciate you. Yeah, we're working on that. But I appreciate you taking the time. I know you got a lot going on. New house, like. Dude,
it's life.
Congratulations.
Life's always busy.
Congratulations, brother.
Yeah, congratulations.
It's always.
That's what's up.
Welcome to Texas. Cause now you're a real Texan.
Nah, I'm real.
You got driver's license.
Driver's license didn't do it. Now actually got land.
Yeah, you got land. You officially a Texan, man.
Land is the license.
How's the baby? I'd be remiss if I didn't ask how the baby was.
He's big.
Getting big.
He's big.
About it. Was he 8 months now?
8 months, 23 pounds. He's a big boy. The best thing is he's my oldest. Our oldest son's like best friend. Like they
of course.
So it's like another sensory thing for him.
Just wait till he gets, because 23 pounds.
He's big.
It's a big boy.
Our kids
23 pounds.
Doll's like 65 pounds and like 4 foot at 8 or 7. So
him and Sir about the same weight right now.
Man,
but they're just rocks.
They're huge. Like I don't know, but it's crazy.
He jumped on me the other day. I was like, I'm not that young anymore.
Bro, he wants to pick you up. Like, bro, I'm not in the weight room right now. You can't just, jump on me out of nowhere. No, you can't do that.
Hot Works.
I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. Hot Works does have weights, and they do go up to 50 pounds, Dub, since we want to.
I wasn't the one laughing.
I live weight.
Somebody created the laugh.
I just don't.
Just trickled around.
Yeah, whatever. But no, man, this is it's been dope, bro. I appreciate you. Like I said, taking the time out. Hopefully, we can set something up. As a group. I know we're trying to do some stuff here in Dallas, so hopefully, get you to be a part of it. We'll kind of go from there, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me know. I appreciate the platform.
Man, listen, dude.
This is rare.
You come on here anytime you want to, man. Like you got that Olive Brands for us, man. You're family. I consider y'all Haley. We've got a lot of things that we didn't get into that we have in common, but I think it's in this space you gotta find the real ones, right? And you guys are, truly considered that. So I had to shout out to Haley for allowing you to come out here, because I know she's probably like, bring your ass home. I gotta get this.
I got it all organized before I left.
Oh, okay. Well, you're good. You're good. Haley, don't worry about it. He'll be home when he gets there. Right. But no, man, it's been real. This is what? So
episode 9.
9. So you were the 9th episode of The Village.
I feel honored.
We're honored to have you.
I've been hearing about MERT and I read about it, but to actually hear someone, you go on their website and you see all the research, the resources, but to actually hear someone that went through the process, this changed my view on it. Now I'm about to be aggressive. And I told him, I said, once I hit a store, now I'm about to be aggressive now. So it's coming.
We appreciate that, man.
It was life changing. So if anybody needs any, I have some links and stuff of like information I got provided, like video wise, that can just kind of expand not just kind of opinions on it, but like actual kind of research.
Please share that.
We'll put you in a group with us so you can get the links, and we'll also put some stuff in there for we can have it on the episode as well. So
good stuff, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Episode 9. We out, man. Appreciate y'all.
Village.
That's good shit, bro. I really appreciate you coming.